The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi there, and welcome to our presentation today. Today we're going to discuss how Project Online will help your organization gain a competitive advantage by delivering customer-specific engineering projects on time and on budget. Before we get started real quick, we have a few logistics to go over with you. We will not be opening the line for questions, so all lines will be muted during the webinar. However, we will be answering questions that are captured in the chat, chat and question panel. So please feel free to type in any questions should you have any. And then you can also feel free to email us directly. We'll be providing our contact information at the end of the webinar, so you can reach out to us directly as well. And if for some reason you get distracted or pulled away during the webinar, we will be distributing the recording after the webinar today. All right, with that, let's get started. So first, let's look at what a program entails. And according to PMI's definition, a program is a group of related projects, subprograms, and program activities managed in a coordinated way to obtain benefits that are not available from managing them individually. And in the engineering world, I often see the project in the PMI definition defined as a work package element or something like that within the engineering community. And taking on these large-scale engineering programs, it's really one of the most difficult and risky, but when well done, rewarding undertaking a government or company can attempt. And it's not only pushing the envelope of what's possible, but oftentimes it's defining what that new envelope is. Generating new capabilities, technologies, products, and systems that are innovative and unique, and oftentimes generate tremendous societal benefits. For example, these programs could be space programs putting astronauts on Mars, high-speed trains, racing cars, or deep-sea vessels that explore life at the bottom of the ocean. It could entail inventing cleaner technologies or calculating environmental impacts, building hybrid cars or even an aircraft carrier. And some of the civilian agencies building a school that could withstand an earthquake or a road system that puts an end to chronic traffic jams. So there's a lot of rewarding activities that can go on with these large programs that you're managing. But on the other hand, these large-scale programs present some extreme challenges as well. And this was research done by a community of practice that documented in a white paper, The Guide to Lean Enablers for Managing Engineering Programs. And they found that a subset of DoD engineering development programs, their data is readily available, so they've used that as their research. Cost overruns have reached a staggering amount of nearly 300 billion. And the average schedule overrun is close to 2 years. So why is that? Well, there's a lot of challenges that these engineering organizations are facing with managing these programs. First of all, we understand they're very large, they're complex, and often customer-facing, and they require communication across multiple departments. And when they're managed in silos, this can cause an extreme challenge for those engineering teams. And not only do they have to collaborate across multiple departments, they have to collaborate across multiple programs. So as programs oftentimes being managed in different ways, this results in some challenges and frustrations for those resources that are working across multiple programs. And it also impacts the scalability of your resource team, being able to take on more work and be productive across multiple programs. And in addition to having the various departments that need to work together, oftentimes we will see that there's disconnected systems for managing the integrated master schedule issues and risks, as well as pretty complex baseline change requests. And this can result in data integrity issues, and in addition to that, a lack of a centralized view for all of this work that's going on across these programs and the performance and KPIs across multiple programs. So having visibility into that can be very difficult if you've got disconnected systems and you're copying and pasting data across Excel. And then these programs oftentimes have requirements for some rigid reporting for earned value management, and having integration with other line of business systems such as finance can be cumbersome as well. So again, you've got this disconnected world that is having to generate metrics for earned value, but this, and so this ultimately results in some costly and inefficiencies that are driving collaboration needs across these teams, as well as standardization. So from a roles and responsibilities standpoint, we've got our stakeholders who can be externally facing customers as well as the leadership team. We've got our program manager who's looking for the overarching success of that program and trying to collaborate across the multiple projects or work packages that are ultimately going to drive success of that program. Project engineers or CAMs or control account managers, those are usually the team members from the engineering side that manage those sub-projects and are ultimately responsible for the success of that piece of the puzzle. And then you've got your scheduling team that's coming from program planning and controls that's really looking at a holistic view of the integrated master schedule and understanding the impacts and of variances within those work packages and being able to report that up to the program manager and stakeholders. Then you've got your engineers that are actually working on the program, and there's typically a variety of these different engineers from a discipline standpoint. And finance, last but not least, has to be incorporated as well because they're going to drive the financial reporting and insight into the actuals that are being driven from all of the work that's being done and needs to ultimately be reported to the customer or the stakeholder. And a common, as I mentioned, a common challenge that I've seen with organizations, these engineering organizations, are these barriers that prevent teams from easily collaborating and sharing information, which basically leads to these inefficiencies and ineffectiveness, as well as frustrated employees, which could result in employee turnover. And that's your skill set that's actually delivering on these programs. So you want employee engagement to be high, and you want them to feel productive. As we mentioned, an integrated solution can help. So Project Online is basically a full suite program management solution that's built in the cloud, and it entails the full spectrum of the program management. There's risk and contingency management. You have your scheduling and critical path. You have your integrated master planning, resource capacity and demand, as well as team collaboration and document management, change and issue management. And as you incorporate your stage gating process can be applied to the tool as well. And CAMs and team members can actually actively interact with the scheduling team on applying progress to that integrated master schedule. And then the nice thing about this too is that because you're standardizing, you're basically enabling this templating and lessons learned, and you can enable that continuous improvement that needs to happen in order to make these programs successful. And all of this is built on top of the Office 365 platform. So it's built on a familiar platform of Microsoft tools that your people are probably using today, such as Excel, Word, Exchange, OneDrive, SharePoint. So all of those productivity applications that your team is taking advantage of can be fully and holistically integrated with your program management solution. All of this is built on the Microsoft Cloud, which is secure and compliant and performs and is scalable for your organization. So instead of having to have this on-premise where you're having to set it up for the worst case possible scenario from a performance standpoint, you've got an infrastructure that can scale with you as your users increase, as your usage increases. So it's a very highly scalable platform that's 100% secure. And then on top of that, we've got the integrations that you would probably need in order to have that cost schedule integration. So real quick, I wanted to take a look at the integrated master schedule activity by role. A lot of times I see in organizations, the scheduling team is using Microsoft Project, and they are highly capable schedulers that really understand the ins and outs of Microsoft Project. However, the engineering team that's leading those work packages, they have another system. They may be using Jira, and they're managing that in a much less, from a scheduling standpoint, maturity tool set. And then you've got your engineers there that are actually collaborating on the tasks and collaborating on the progress. And all of this needs to be in a holistic, collaborative solution. And so What I've seen be successful for organizations is let the scheduling team stay in Microsoft Project. They like Microsoft Project. Let them take advantage of all of the robust scheduling capabilities and critical path methodologies that Project offers. And then allow your engineering teams to manage in a variety of ways. One being your Project online planner. So they could create a subset of activities that they're managing that then can roll up into the integrated master schedule and maintain the integrity that needs to be set within that integrated master schedule. And by allowing your team, your engineering team, to collaborate within the online planner, now engineers have visibility into the activities that are going on, and they can actually provide status and collaborate on those tasks with their project engineers or their CAMs. And so all of this information ultimately flows up to the integrated master schedule, allowing for more collaboration, a seamless event between all of the scheduling team and the engineers, and all of your data is centralized and standardized now. So let me take a little bit of a deeper dive into how this works. Basically, the scheduling team, again, can create their integrated master schedule at the beginning of a program. And then as they create all of their milestones and create the holistic schedule from a big picture view, they can then create a subset, sub-project, basically, that then will be linked to the level that the integrated master schedule is being managed at. And the nice thing about this is what it's going to do is allow the CAM or the project engineer to take the level of the integrated master schedule and break it down into sub-level tasks so that they can ultimately manage in a more detailed fashion what they're ultimately responsible for. Now, a lot of times when the scheduling team hears that, they get scared because they don't want to have a nightmare of a schedule to maintain that's at that level of detail, because they're really looking at a bigger picture. They're looking at across all of these different sub-projects. So this allows you to keep the scheduling team at the level that they're comfortable at while allowing the CAMs and the engineers to manage their detailed tasks and feed that information up into the integrated master schedule. So this is an example of the sub-project that was created based off of the integrated master schedule, and this allows the CAM or the project engineer to break these tasks into, typically like 8 to 80-hour activities so that they can status and collaborate with their engineers on these different activities and manage their overarching EAC and task progress within a nice online planner, not requiring them to use Microsoft Project. Now, they can use Microsoft Project if they choose, and that's another aspect of this too, is that it allows you to have a variety of maturity levels within the organization or a variety of preferences, and it also allows you to scale. So as engineers learn more about the scheduling engine, they can scale and incorporate that into how they're managing their sub-projects. And then because all of this information, again, the CAM has basically broken these tasks into lower level tasks, the engineering team that's actually working on these activities can provide status updates to the CAM or project engineer. And this allows you to standardize too on your progress methods. So because all of this is stored within an enterprise system, you can standardize on the different earned value methods that you're leveraging across these different programs, whether it be milestone based or 0, 50, 100. So there's a variety of ways you can leverage that as well. And then as the updates come into that sub-project, the CAMs can then either approve or reject those updates, and it'll get populated into the schedule. To take the full cycle here, now the scheduling team can then take those updates from the sub-projects. They can click update status, and that information is going to come into the schedule for their review, and they can actually then work within the schedule as a master schedule and adjust as necessary. And it's going to highlight discrepancies between your baseline, between your actuals, between your forecasts, and give you the information that's needed in order to understand the holistic impact of these updates in the sub-projects. And you can configure this based off of your use case, but we typically recommend that these updates come in a set of static fields so that your scheduling team isn't having to enable any automated updates, because they do need to have a little bit more control over the schedule and have visibility into the overarching impacts before the actual real schedule dates are adjusted. And in addition to the schedule and progressing of your program, you can also leverage resource capacity planning. So you can allow the organization to plan at a variety of levels, whether it be generics or by name resources. It can be enabled either within the scheduling team if you're using resource-loaded schedules, or it could be at a capacity level for the engineering team to be able to easily capture the resource skill that you're looking for, or the team that you're looking for, what project it's associated to. You can plug in a description there, and then either plan in units or FTE or hours, and allocate team members across these different programs and have visibility into how that affects the overarching demand of your organization. And this is an example of cost schedule integration that I see quite often. Scheduling teams managing within Microsoft Project, managing the BCWS and the BCWP. So you've got your baseline schedule, you've got your planned hours and planned cost. And sometimes that is in the schedule, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes it's just in the financial system. And then you've incorporated your progress into the mix because now you're collecting status updates from your engineering teams. So you've got progress coming into the schedule as well. And then what you can do now is that you've actually got an enterprise system. So all of the custom fields that you're used to dealing with on the local desktop are now able to be enterprise level fields so that this can be standard across the organization. And as you establish your different charge codes or unique codes that need to go into the financial system, we have an integration platform that can basically take that information from project, transform it if necessary, and then push it into your financial earned value systems such as SAP. So this takes a lot of the legwork that the scheduling team oftentimes has to do with exporting into Excel and transforming the data and then getting it into whether it's NPM or SAP, whatever earned value system that you have. This can streamline that process quite a bit. And you can actually have the information flowing back both ways if you wanted to. If you wanted to add the cost into the project scheduling engine, you could do that as well. And last but not least, we've got the collaboration capabilities to have SharePoint team sites associated with each of these projects or programs. So this allows you to collaborate on documents, manage issues and risks, which I'll show you next, have a OneNote notebook. So this takes collaboration to the next level and consolidates it, allowing your team to effectively understand what's going on, share information, and it's all in one place that's very common and completely integrated with your Office 365 platform. So within each of those team sites, you can manage issues and risks as well as changes, and this can be configured based off of your unique requirements. And basically all of that information, again, is centralized, and so now you can see that on the bottom here you've got a consolidated list of issues and risks, and all of this information is accessible for the program leadership to have visibility into. So real quick, let's go ahead and take a demonstration to show you what this would look like in Project Online. And there was a question, is there an on-premise version as well? Yes, there is. You can have Project Server or Project Online. So yes, you could have it on-premise if you can't go to the cloud. Okay, so here we are. Here's our project center. This is what I was referring to earlier, showing you the centralization of all of your schedules. So these are all of the schedules that you're managing, and this is grouped by program. I could group this by a variety of different metadata, such as program manager. So now if I go ahead and go into my master, here are the details I was referring to that you can capture around each of these project schedules. So you can have project IDs, you can have project numbers, here's your project program manager. So this is all data that you can then report on and group on later on. And here is my schedule. So here's my nice timeline view that as a scheduling resource I've created for my team to come in and have visibility into all of the key milestones across this program. And I don't necessarily have to have Microsoft Project. I don't have to open it up in Microsoft Project or even have edit rights to this. I have visibility into the Gantt chart and the timeline right here within the Project Online instance. And in addition, here's the project site. So let's go ahead and go to that. That's where our team can actually collaborate on managing their documents and deliverables. We have a OneNote for our meeting notes, issues and risks that we capture within this as well. And you can see that timeline actually is inherited into my team site as well. So this is a nice way for you to collaborate with your team and bring everybody into one place that they can manage this program moving forward. Let me go back up to the portfolio here. And I'll take you real quick into the resources just to show you how that looks from a reporting standpoint. So here's a group of resources, and just similar to the schedule, we've now taken all of these resources and centralized them into one resource pool so that I can have visibility into the overarching demand on my team as well as their capacity by role or by group or by individual. And so here you can see I've got a department for engineering, I've got a department for program management. You could drill down into this and have mechanical engineering, system engineering. It can be based off of your specific needs. And if I go into resource requests here, this is basically going to show me the team that I selected and what they've been allocated to. So here's a project that they've been allocated to. Here's another project that Chaz is working on. And then I also have generic resources. So in the instance that you don't want to do by name resource planning, or you want to put some type of workflow process in place to negotiate with resource managers, you could allocate generic resources as well. And this is basically showing me what I've committed to on the right-hand side. This could be in hours or FTE based off of your preference. And let's say I want to actually go and look at how this is impacting their overarching capacity. I can go into this capacity planning view, and this is going to let me know what I've been allocated to against the, from a demand standpoint, against my overarching capacity. And this can be viewed in days, weeks, months, quarters. It's up to you. So quickly I can see that Chaz is over allocated this week. He's in the red, and I've got a lot of resources that don't have anything assigned to them. So I could basically work within this system and allocate some of his work maybe to another resource, basically manage this for, from a resource management standpoint right here within the tool set, and it's all integrated into one solution. This can be driven off of a resource loaded schedule, or it can be driven off of a capacity level plan. So it's really based off of the maturity and requirements of your organization, and it can actually be vary based off of the different teams. So for example, if one program wants to manage at the detailed by name resource, which is often, I don't see very often, they can do that where one program can have actually capacity driven just at the project level or even at the sub-project level. So real quick, let me go ahead and show you one of these lower level sub-projects, just so you can see how it's easy to work within the instance. This is basically taking, this is your Microsoft project level IMS task, and now I've been able to break it down into 3 subtasks here, and I can actually just update revised hours. So here I can actually update my work effort. Let's say I'm going to need 120. And so I can easily make changes right within the web browser. And then this information can be sent back up to the scheduling team. Now I know you don't like to see that increase in hours, but let's say that there was a reduction in hours, that would be good. And it's not going to substitute for actually the scheduling and the engineering team talking, but this is going to get the communication going and the visibility sooner than later. So last but not least, let's go ahead and go into some of the program reporting that is now available, because you've got all of this information stored within a central database and a central data source. So basically Power BI is built on the Office 365 platform as well, and it is Microsoft's new reporting engine that is really enabling more visualization and personalization from a reporting standpoint. So here you can quickly see that I've got a summary of my projects that are going on, and they're grouped by program. So these are all of the programs and schedules that are associated to this particular program, and all of this information up top is basically a summary. So I can see that I've got in this view here, I've got one at risk, I've got some overdue issues, and all of these KPIs are available to me to report really more by exception than by the rules. So basically I've got a lot of programs that are healthy, but I can actually see very quickly that there is one that is in trouble. And all of this information can then be looked at from a scheduling standpoint. So now I've got the summary information, but now I can drill down into actual schedule status and look at that specifically. So this is looking at just your overdue milestones, a variance of your durations, and what your remaining duration is. I can also look at it in a Gantt view. So if I wanted to see all of these projects and programs within a Gantt visual, I can see that here. Here's a cost summary, so this is drilling into the cost information. And then I can actually look at issues and risks and that type of thing as well. So I can also, I'm going to go ahead and drill down into and look at some of the performance data based off of time-phased information. So here I can quickly see information about my cost and schedule performance. Here's my S-curve based off of the programs that I've selected here. And all of this can be easily filtered on over to the right here. Here I can see my EV trend. So what's the, how's my earned value going over time? I can look at my resources based off of what they've been allocated to and the role that they have within the organization. And then here's scheduled tasks. So here's the total tasks that are associated with this schedule. Here's what we've actually finished that were baseline to be finished, and according to the schedule. And then over time, we can see how we're performing on the number of tasks that we were supposed to complete versus what we actually completed. And I wanted to show you that you can not only look at it at the program level, you can actually go into a detailed project status. So here you can see within a project, what's my project status, what's my overall status, my cost, my schedule, my percent complete. And all of this information, similar to what I mentioned earlier, that's schedule related. This is all schedule related to that specific project. So these are my milestones. This is the due date, what is percent complete. This is the cost information associated to that project, the resource plan associated to that project, and then any issues and risks. So I'm going to finish up with a couple of slides, and then we will close this out. So real quick, I just wanted to give you a quick introduction of Tivity. We are a full-service project and business management solution provider. We've been focusing on deploying Microsoft technologies on the productivity stack for over 20 years now. And we really are focused on delivering value within a very short time frame for our customers. We like to get you up and running quickly with less risk and then grow from there, enabling you to take advantage of the technology and the solution as quickly as possible and get that return on your investment. And we do provide basically a one-stop shop for Project Online. We have professional services that can entail strategy workshops, tailored implementations, as well as Kickstart packages. We have a full suite of education and training, including an online university, as well as what we call our e-academy, which is an online book with videos and exercises. And then we also have instructor-led courses, of course, that can be delivered virtually or in person. And we have a full team that can support you from a long-term standpoint, from having access to our expert teams via self-service portal and making sure that you're taken care of long-term. And last but not least, our business optimization. So we can work with you to establish business process improvements, staff augmentation with scheduling teams, or remote administration. And if you're interested in attending any of our upcoming webinars, we have a couple coming up. We have Effective PPM with Microsoft Project Online coming up on the 22nd, as well as some other webinars focusing on sales and services from a professional services standpoint and resource management. So please feel free to sign up for those coming up on our website at tivity.com. And if you're interested in learning more, we would be more than happy to work with you on a PMO or program management assessment and roadmap leveraging Project Online, as well as a trial of Project Online. If you'd like to get your hands on it and understand how it would work in your world, we can support you through that process with the trial capability. And with that, I'd like to make sure that you have our contact information. Jim Patterson is our Director of Business Development. Feel free to reach out to him at jpatterson@tivity.com, or you can definitely reach out to me specifically in manumtum@tivity.com, and I'd be happy to work with you to understand how you can benefit from implementing a project online solution for your program management needs. Okay. Doesn't seem like there's any questions. So with that, we'll go ahead and close out the webinar, and I appreciate you joining me this morning, and I will be sending out the recording, or we will be sending out the recording later today. Thanks very much.